This is BBC Radio 3. The time is 8 o'clock. Now, drama on 3, and a chance to travel backwards and forwards in time in Kurt Vonnegut's iconic work, Slaughterhouse-Five. The novel was first published 40 years ago, but this dramatisation by Dave Sheasby is the first ever for radio. The story centres around the author's harrowing experience of the bombing in Dresden in 1945, and it contains some strong language.
I would hate to tell you what this lousy little story cost me in money and anxiety and time. When I got home from the Second World War, I thought it would be easy to write about the destruction of Dresden, since all I would have to do is report what I had seen. And I thought it would be a masterpiece and make me a lot of money. When I told Harrison Starr, the movie maker, I was writing about Dresden, he inquired, "Is it an anti-war story?" "Yes," I said, "I guess it is." "You know," he said, "what I say to people when they say they are writing an anti-war story? I say, why don't you write an anti-glacier story instead?" What he meant, of course, was that there would always be wars, and they were as easy to stop as glaciers. I believe that, too. Now. And even if wars didn't keep coming like glaciers, there would still be plain old death.
Slaughterhouse-Five, or the Children's Crusade. A Duty Dance with Death by Kurt Vonnegut Jr., a fourth-generation German-American now living in easy circumstances on Cape Cod and smoking too much, who, as an American prisoner of war, witnessed the firebombing of Dresden, Germany, the Florence of the Elbe, a long time ago, and survived to tell the tale. This is a story somewhat in the telegraphic manner of tales of the planet Tralfamadore, where the flying saucers come from. Adapted for radio by Dave Sheasby. Peace.
When I was working on my famous Dresden story, I asked an old war buddy, Bernard V. O'Hare, if I could come and see him. He was a district attorney in Pennsylvania. I was a writer on Cape Cod. I had the Bell Telephone Company find him for me. They are wonderful that way. I have this disease late at night sometimes involving alcohol and the telephone. I get drunk and drive my wife away with breath like mustard gas and roses.
Hello? Who is this?
Bernard? It's me. How are you doing, buddy?
Oh, you. Have you any idea what time it is?
Listen, I'm writing a book about Dresden. I'd like some help remembering stuff. Could I come down and see you?
Everyone here's asleep. I'm trying to read. Anyway, I can't remember too much about all that war stuff.
I think the climax of the story will be the execution of poor old Edgar Darby. The irony. A whole city gets burned down, and thousands of people are killed, and then one American soldier is arrested in the ruins for taking a teapot, and he's given a regular trial, and then he's shot by firing squad. Now, isn't that an amazing ending?
I don't know. Writing's your trade, not mine. But come down if you want to. I gotta go now, okay?
By the way, if you're ever in Cody, Wyoming...
Just ask for Wild Bob.
A couple of weeks later, I did go to see him. I took my little daughter and a friend of hers. I met his wife, Mary, to whom I dedicate this story, by the way. My girls played with her kids. It was only after the kids had gone upstairs to watch television that I sensed Mary didn't like me. She was polite, but chilly.
Come see, I fixed up a place where you and Bernard can talk and not be bothered, okay?
That's nice. Kinda bright, though. Like an operating table. Still, should be fine. Just the one glass?
Bernard doesn't touch the stuff, not since the war. I'll leave you to it. Excuse me.
Is everything okay? I mean, have I done something here?
It's not you. Don't worry. Sit down. Help yourself.
So, memories, Bernard. I was thinking we could start with the... Are you sure about Mary? I think it's me. You're being too nice, Bernard.
It's okay. Don't worry. I remember the guy who found that wine. We had to take him back in a wheelbarrow, and the Russians in a clock factory. I mean, they weren't
You know
all...
something? You were just babies then.
What?
Just babies in the war, like the ones upstairs.
Well, I guess so.
But you're not going to write it that way, are you? Oh, no.
Why? I don't know.
I know. You'll pretend you were men instead of babies, and you'll be played in the movies by Frank Sinatra or John Wayne or some other glamorous, war-loving old men. And war will look just wonderful, so we'll have a lot more of them. And they'll be fought by babies like the babies upstairs.
Hey, stop right there. Please. See my hand here? I'm raising it for a promise, Mary. Now, I don't think this book of mine is ever going to be finished, but if I ever do finish it, I give you my word of honor right now there won't be a part for Frank Sinatra or John Wayne. I'll tell you what I'll call it, too. The Children's Crusade, okay? Can we be friends now?
Okay. Okay, friends.
You can put your hand down now, I guess, my friend.
I read a Gideon Bible once in a motel room. I searched for tales of great destruction, and the way the Lord rained down fire and brimstone upon Sodom and Gomorrah. And Lot's wife, of course, was told not to look back where all those people in their homes had been. But she did look back, and I love her for that, because it was so human. She was turned into a pillar of salt. So it goes. People aren't supposed to look back. I'm certainly not going to do it anymore. I've finished my story now. The next one I write is going to be fun. This one is a failure, and had to be, since it was written by a pillar of salt. It begins like this. Listen. Billy Pilgrim has come unstuck in time. It ends like this. Poot-tweet. Listen. Billy Pilgrim has come unstuck in time. Listen. Billy Pilgrim has gone to sleep a senile widower and awakened on his wedding day. He has walked through a door in 1955 and come out another one in 1941. He has gone back through that door to find himself in 1963. He has seen his birth and death many times, he says, and pays random visits to all the events in between, he says. Billy is spastic in time, has no control over where he is going next, and the trips are not necessarily fun. He is in a constant state of stage fright, he says, because he never knows what part of his life he is going to have to act in next. Billy was born in 1922 in Ilium, New York. An only child, he graduated from high school, but was then drafted for military service with the infantry in Europe, where he was taken prisoner in Germany. After the war, he enrolled at the Ilium School of Optometry. But although getting engaged to the daughter of the owner of the school, he had a breakdown and was placed in a veterans hospital near Lake Placid. He recovered and got married to his fiancée. He became rich, had 2 children, Barbara and Robert. Barbara married another optometrist, and Robert joined the Green Berets and went to Vietnam. Later, Billy crashed on a mountaintop in a light airplane taking a group of optometrists to a convention. But he survived, only for his wife to die in an automobile accident while he was recovering from his own crash. Out of hospital and recuperating, without warning, he started to talk about coming unstuck in time. He wrote to the local newspaper about having been kidnapped by a flying saucer from the planet Tralfamadore, where he was mated with a former movie star called Montana Wildhack. Billy was now working on another letter to the paper, on an old typewriter in the rumpus room of his house where the oil burner had quit working.
The most important thing I learned on Tralfamador is that when a person dies, he only appears to die. He's still very much alive in the past. So it is very silly for people to cry at his funeral. All moments, past, present, future, always have existed, always will exist. The Tralfamadorians can look at all the different moments just the way we can look at a stretch of the Rocky Mountains. They can see how permanent all the moments are, and they can look at any moment that interests them. When a Tralfamadorian sees a corpse, all he thinks is that the dead person is in a bad condition in that particular moment.
Daddy!
But that the same person is just fine in plenty of other moments. Now, when I hear that somebody is dead,
Where are you?
somebody is dead, I simply shrug and say what the Tralfamadorians say about dead people, which is, so it goes.
There you are. Why didn't you answer me when I called?
I didn't hear you, Barbara.
Don't lie to me. I know perfectly well that you heard me.
I didn't hear you.
That letter in the paper. You are making a laughing stock of yourself and us.
Why are you so mad?
Father, are you going to force us to put you in a home like where Grandma is?
It was just a letter.
It's crazy. None of it is true.
It's all true.
There is no such planet as Tralfamador.
It can't be detected from Earth, if that's what you mean. The two planets are both very small and very, very far apart.
For Christ's sake, where did you get a crazy name like Tralfamador?
Well, the creatures who live there call it that. They're 2 feet high and green and shaped like plumbers' friends. And since you mentioned him, they don't have much interest in Christ there. The most interesting earthling to them is Charles Darwin, who taught that those who die are meant to die. Corpses are improvements. The same idea appears in Kilgore Trout's book, Big Board. The flying saucer creatures who captured Trout's hero ask him about Darwin, and they also ask him about golf.
God.
What?
Why is it you never mentioned any of this before the plane crash?
I didn't think the time was ripe, Barbara.
Billy says he first came unstuck in time long before his trip to Tralfamador. Billy first came unstuck in time while World War II was in progress. Billy was a chaplain's assistant, a figure of fun in the American Army. He was a valet to a preacher. He bore no arms and had a meek faith in a loving Jesus, which most soldiers found putrid. When Billy joined his regiment, it was in the process of being destroyed by the Germans in the famous Battle of the Bulge. Billy never even got to meet the chaplain he was supposed to assist, was never even issued with a steel helmet and combat boots. It was December 1944, during the last mighty German attack of the war. Billy survived, a dazed wanderer behind German lines. The other wanderers, not quite so dazed, allowed Billy to tag along. 2 scouts and 1 anti-tank gunner. They were all 4 without food or maps. They found themselves in a rural silence ever more profound. They ate snow. The scouts had rifles, the gunner a Colt .45. Billy was empty-handed, bleakly ready for death. He had no helmet, no overcoat. On his feet were cheap low-cut civilian shoes which he had bought for his father's funeral. He didn't look like a soldier at all. He looked like a filthy flamingo. He also had a beard, bristly and white even though he was only 21. The anti-tank gunner's name was Roland Weary.
Get out of the road!
What?
Get out of the road! Move! Move!
Oh, right, yeah.
Saved your life again, you dumb
bastard.
I guess.
You guess? I'm always saving your life.
You can just leave me alone, guys. Go on without me.
You see this trench knife, Pilgrim?
Roland Weary was only 18, at the end of an unhappy childhood in Pittsburgh. He was unpopular because he was stupid, fat, and mean. He was always being ditched in Pittsburgh by people who did not want him with them. It made him sick to be ditched. When he was ditched, he would find somebody more unpopular than himself, and then he would pretend to be friendly, and then find a pretext for beating the shit out of him. It was a crazy, sexy, murderous pattern of relationships. He told his victims about his father's collection of guns and swords and torture instruments. Weary's father once gave Weary's mother a Spanish thumbscrew in working condition for a kitchen paperweight. His father also had a Derringer pistol, which could make a hole in a man a bull bat could fly through without touching either wing. Weary's father wasn't alone. He belonged to a big club composed of people who collected things like that.
See it?
I see it.
My father gave me that. It's not government stuff. No, sir. You see the blades?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah? How'd you like to be hit with this, Hmm?
Well, I wouldn't.
No other blades triangular.
No.
Makes a wound that won't close up.
Huh.
Makes a three-sided hole in a guy, right?
Right.
Shit. What do you know? What the hell do they teach you in college?
Well, I wasn't there very long. It was a night school, the Ilium School of Optometry.
Useless Joe College.
I guess.
There's more to life than what you read in books. You'll find that out.
I guess.
Billy was tempted to say he knew a thing or two about gore. In his childhood, he had an extremely gruesome crucifix on the wall of his bedroom in Ilium. Billy wasn't a Catholic. His mother bought it in a gift shop in Santa Fe in the Great Depression. Like many Americans, she was trying to construct a life that made sense from things she found in gift shops.
We best move out. I reckon whoever fired at us is gone. Let's get going, boys! Those trees over there, see? Go!
Roland Weary had fat to burn. He had every piece of equipment ever issued. A bulletproof Bible. A pamphlet entitled Know Your Enemy, which enabled him to ask Germans questions like, "How many howitzers have you?" He had a kit containing 2 condoms, for the prevention of disease only. He had a dirty picture of a woman attempting intercourse with a Shetland pony. He made Billy admire this picture several times. He was a roaring furnace under all his layers of wool and straps and canvas. He was so snug in there, he was able to pretend that he was safe at home, having survived the war, and telling his parents and his sister a true war story which went like this.
There was a big German attack, and me and my buddies fought like hell, and everybody was killed except me. And I got tied in with 2 scouts, and we tried to fight back to our own lines. We called ourselves the 3 Musketeers. But then there was this damn college kid asking to come along. He was pitiful. No uniform, no weapons, he couldn't even walk right. We saved his goddamned hide for him, yes sir. The 3 Musketeers. Wake up!
What's...
Wake up!
Okay. Go on. You go on. You guys go on. I'm all right. I'm okay.
Okay? Jesus, I'd hate to see somebody sick. Come on! They're coming for us!
Billy Pilgrim was leaning against a tree, his eyes closed, head back, nostrils flaring like a poet in the Parthenon. It was then Billy first came unstuck in time. A violet light a hum, and he swung grandly through the full arc of his life. It was 1965. He was 41. His mother was old and dying at Pine Knoll, an old people's home. She was decrepit and not expected to live.
Is that you, Billy?
Yes, Mother.
Is that you, Billy?
Mother? Can you hear me, Mother?
How
How what, Mother?
how did I get so old?
Billy blinked. It was 1961, New Year's Eve, and he was disgracefully drunk at a house party where everybody was in optometry or married to an optometrist. He was in the laundry room with a woman.
What was it you wanted to talk about?
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Sit on the dryer.
How come they call you Billy instead of William?
Business reasons. My wife's father. See, he runs the school here. He said it would stick in people's memories. Make him think I was a friend.
What are you doing, Billy?
I'm trying to take this damn girdle off. What's your name again?
Shit! Oh! I told you to lock the damn door!
There was an awful scene. Billy later found himself in his automobile trying to find the steering wheel. He was searching every inch of the dashboard, working methodically from left to right. Nothing there. Someone must have stolen it. Then he got angry and passed out. He was in the back seat of his car. That's why he couldn't find the steering wheel.
Come on, will you? Here he is, boys. Pilgrim. Oh, he don't want to live, but he's gonna live anyway. When he gets out of this, by God, he's gonna owe his life to the Three Musketeers.
The three what?
So what the hell do we do now, boys?
Well, I guess, Yeah,
I guess you're right. Go for it.
Bye-bye, fellas.
Hey! Come back, you bastards! See that? It's you, Pilgrim. You! I'm stuck with you! You've busted the Three Musketeers, do you know that? It's your fault! Oh, I shouldn't even be in the army! Oh, I've sacrificed everything for you, you stupid, dumb bastard! You think it's funny, eh? Well, hush!
Weary saw he had an audience. 5 German soldiers and a police dog. Soldiers whose eyes were filled with a bleary curiosity as to why one American would try to murder another one so far from home, and why the victim should laugh. The Germans and the dog were engaged in a military operation which had an amusingly self-explanatory name. A name, when reported as news or history, gives many war enthusiasts a sort of post-coital satisfaction. It is called mopping up. The dog had never been to war before. She was shivery. Her name was Princess.
Steht auf. Okay. Take it easy. Sounds like they got the Musketeers.
Hände hoch.
Put your lousy hands up, Pilgrim, like the man says.
Stech still. Was haben wir hier? Schönes Spielzeug, Soldat.
That's my special knife, you dumbass. And that's my steel Bible. Your bullets won't get through that.
Was ist das? Schmutzige Bilder. Schönes Pferd. Nice horse.
I only keep it to show Pilgrim.
Stiefel aus. Gib sie dem Obergefreiten.
My boots? You want my boots? How am I supposed to walk?
I guess he wants you to have his friend's clogs.
They walked for miles, with Weary's clogs clacking, and Billy in his funeral shoes bobbing next to him. They were brought at last to a stone cottage at a fork in the road. It was a collecting point for prisoners of war. They were taken inside, where it was warm and smoky. There were about 20 other Americans there. Nobody talked. Nobody had any good war stories to tell. Billy went to sleep with his head on the shoulder of an unprotesting captain. He was a chaplain, a rabbi. He had been shot through the hand. Billy traveled in time, opened his eyes, and found himself in his office in Ilium staring into his optometer, which was in the shape of an owl, a jade-green mechanical owl hanging from a steel rod. He had fallen asleep while examining a female patient. He had done this before. He was starting to get worried about it. He couldn't remember how old he was, or what year it was.
Doctor?
Yeah?
You're so quiet.
I'm sorry.
You were talking away there, and then you got so quiet. You see something terrible?
Terrible?
Something terrible in my eyes.
No. No. Your eyes are fine. You just need glasses for reading. If you'd like to go across the corridor, please.
When she was gone, Billy opened the drapes. Bright sunlight came crashing in. There were thousands of parked automobiles in the suburban shopping center. Billy's own Cadillac Eldorado Coupe de Ville was out there. He read the sticker on the bumper, "Impeach Earl Warren." The sticker had been given to Billy by his father-in-law, a member of the John Birch Society. The date on the license plate was 1967. That would make Billy 44 years old.
Where have all the years gone? What the hell?
The sirens scared the hell out of him. He was expecting World War III at any time. It was the siren in the firehouse opposite announcing noon. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, he was back in World War II and a German soldier was kicking his feet.
Stellen Sie auf, Amerikaners! Time to move out! Stellen Sie auf!
The Americans, with Billy among them, formed a fool's parade on the road outside. There was a photographer, a German with a Leica. He took pictures of Roland Weary and Billy's feet, evidence of the miserable state of equipment of the American Army. They threw Billy into a shrubbery and menaced him with machine pistols as if they were capturing him when he came out. Billy's smile when he came out was like the Mona Lisa's, for he was also riding in his Cadillac in 1967 on his way to a Lions Club luncheon meeting. The speaker at the meeting was a major in the Marines.
There is no choice, gentlemen. We have to keep fighting in Vietnam until we win, or until the Reds realize they can force their way of life on weaker peoples. Now, I've been there twice. I believe we must bomb the North into the Stone Age if they refuse to listen to reason.
Billy was not moved to protest, did not shudder about the hideous things he had seen bombing do. He was just having a Lions Club lunch. He had a framed prayer on his office wall. It helped a lot of patients. It went like this.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Among the things Billy Pilgrim could not change were the past, the present, and the future.
Major, can I present Mr. Billy Pilgrim? Mr. Pilgrim is a veteran, sir. He also has a son, a sergeant in the Green Berets, sir. In Vietnam, of course.
Oh, you should be proud, Pilgrim. Proud.
I am. I certainly am, sir.
Billy went home afterwards for a nap. The doctor hoped this would relieve a complaint that Billy had. Every so often, for no apparent reason, Billy would find himself weeping. He owned a lovely Georgian house in Ilium. He was as rich as Croesus. He went into his and his wife's bedroom. Billy looked out of the window. There was a crippled man down there. Another man on crutches was ringing the doorbell across the street. Billy knew they were selling subscriptions to magazines that would never come. He took off his trifocals and his coat, necktie and shoes, and he closed the blinds and lay down on the coverlet. But sleep would not come. Tears came instead. He was back in the war again. He was marching with the other prisoners. The winter wind was bringing tears to his eyes. At each intersection, Billy's group was joined by more Americans with their hands on top of their haloed heads. They were moving like water, downhill all the time. Through the valley flowed a Mississippi of humiliated Americans, tens of thousands. They sighed and groaned. Billy had smiles for them all. Weary was crying because of the horrible pains in his feet.
The boxcars, they're for us. They're taking us to Germany. See? Sergeants with sergeants, and majors with majors.
And colonels with colonels. One of them had a high fever and vertigo. He was crying and dying, drowning where he stood.
It's me, boys. It's Wild Bob. You one of my boys. I lost 4,000 boys. You believe that? 4,000. I said, you one of my boys. What was your outfit, fella? You from the 451st?
451st what, sir?
Infantry regiment, son.
Oh. Right, sir. Infantry, sir.
It's me, boys. It's Wild Bob. You can call me that. Wild Bob. You know me, boys. Now, don't be ashamed, boys. You did what you did. There are dead Germans all over the battlefield who wish to God they had never heard of the 451st. When this is over, I'm gonna have me a regimental reunion in my town, Cody, Wyoming. We are gonna barbecue whole steers there. God be with you, boys. If you're ever in Cody, Wyoming, you just ask for Wild Bob.
I was there. So was my old war buddy Bernard V. O'Hare. Billy Pilgrim was packed into a boxcar with other privates. He and Roland Weary were separated. Most of the privates were very young, at the end of childhood. Billy crammed himself into a corner with a former hobo who was 40 years old.
I've been hungrier than this, son. I've been in most places, and this ain't so bad.
Get in here! Yo, Americana! Hey, I said to the men, get in here for Christ's sake!
The guards eventually got a stretcher and went into the dead man's boxcar, where there were 6 live colonels and 1 dead one. The Germans carried the corpse out. It was Wild Bob. So it goes. The train began now to lurch eastwards. This was late December 1944. The war would end in May. Yet here came more prisoners. Each car became a single organism, which ate and drank and excreted through its ventilators. In went water, loaves, and sausage and cheese, and out came shit and piss and language. Billy nestled like a spoon against the hobo and traveled back in time to 1967 again, to the night he was captured by a flying saucer from Tralfamadore. Billy Pilgrim could not sleep on his daughter's wedding night. He was 44. Billy and his wife Valencia nestled like spoons in their big double bed. Valencia was snoring like a bandsaw. There was a full moon. Billy got out of bed. He felt spooky and luminous. He looked down at his bare feet. They were ivory and blue. He shuffled down the hallway into his daughter's room. The phone rang.
Hello? Hello? Who is this, please?
A drunk at the other end. He could almost smell his breath. Mustard gas and roses. Billy padded downstairs, knowing he was about to be kidnapped by a flying saucer, into the kitchen and looked at the clock on the gas stove. He had an hour to kill before the saucer came. He went into the living room, turned on the television. He came slightly unstuck in time, saw the late movie backwards, then forwards again. It was a movie about American bombers in the Second World War. He saw the movie backwards and forwards before it was time to go out to meet the saucer, out on his blue and ivory feet, crushing the wet salad of the lawn. Overhead, he heard the cry of what might have been a melodious owl. But it wasn't a melodious owl. It was a flying saucer from Tralfamadore, which seemed to have come from nowhere at all. Somewhere, a dog barked. The saucer was 100 feet in diameter with portholes round its rim. The light from the portholes was pulsing purple. There was the sound of a seeming kiss as an airtight hatch in the bottom of the saucer opened. Down snaked a ladder that was outlined in pretty lights like a Ferris wheel. Ladder down. Billy locked his hands on the ladder and was hauled up the ladder into the airlock, and machinery closed the doors. There was a speaker on the wall. The Tralfamadorians talked to Billy by means of a computer which made every earthling speech sound. They had no voice boxes themselves.
Welcome aboard, Mr. Pilgrim. Any questions?
Yeah. Why me?
That is a very earthling question, Mr. Pilgrim. Why you? Why us, for that matter? Why anything? Because this moment simply is. Have you ever seen bugs trapped in amber, Mr. Pilgrim?
Well, as a matter of fact, I have this paperweight in my office. It's amber, and there are 3 ladybugs embedded in it.
Well, here we are, Mr. Pilgrim. Trapped in the amber of this moment. There is no why.
They introduced an anesthetic into Billy's atmosphere now and put him to sleep. They strapped him to a yellow Barca lounger they had stolen from Sears Roebuck. There was other stolen merchandise which they used to furnish Billy's habitat in a zoo on Tralfamadore. When he regained consciousness, he was in a boxcar crossing Germany again.
Pilgrim, is that you? Pilgrim, God damn it, it's you, isn't it? Get the hell out of here.
I'm okay, thanks, fellas.
Shut up, I want to sleep. Get Pilgrim out first.
Well, where can I go to sleep?
Anywhere, just not with me, you son of a bitch. You kick and you whimper, Pilgrim, and you know.
I do?
Yeah, you sure do. Keep the hell away from here, Pilgrim.
Okay. I'll just sleep here, standing up, okay?
This ain't bad. I can be comfortable anywhere.
You can?
You think this is bad? Well, this ain't bad.
Those were the hobo's last words. On the 9th day, the hobo died. There was something about the 9th day and death. There was also a death on the 9th day in the car ahead. Roland Weary died of gangrene that had started in his mangled feet. So it goes. In his last delirium, he told again and again of the 3 Musketeers and gave many messages to be delivered to his family in Pittsburgh.
Who killed me? Who killed me?
Billy Pilgrim.
Yeah, Billy Pilgrim. That's who. Billy Pilgrim.
Listen. On the 10th night, the peg was pulled out of the hasp on Billy's boxcar door. The train had arrived on a siding by a prison which had been constructed as an extermination camp for Russian prisoners of war. The guards had never dealt with Americans before, but they understood this kind of freight, which was essentially a liquid which could be induced to flow slowly towards the light. A single bulb in the dark hung from a pole. The hobo was the last to reach the door. He wasn't liquid. He was stone. The Americans were wheedled and teased over to 3 haystacks, which weren't haystacks at all, but piles of overcoats taken from prisoners who were dead. So it goes. The coats were cemented together with ice, and the guards needed ice picks. Billy was the only one who had a coat from a dead civilian. All new prisoners had to go through a delousing station. They were told to strip. The German guard wondered what sort of an army would send a weakling like Billy to the front. One of the best bodies belonged to the oldest American there by far, a high school teacher from Indianapolis called Edgar Darby. He taught a course in contemporary problems in Western civilization. That good body would be filled with holes by firing squad in Dresden in 68 days. So it goes. The worst American body wasn't Billy's. It belonged to a car thief from Cicero, Illinois. His name was Paul Lazaro. He had many plagues of boils. He had been in Roland Weary's boxcar and given his word of honor to Weary that he would some way make Pilgrim pay for Weary's death. He was looking around now, wondering which naked human being was Billy. An unseen hand turned a master valve. Body lice and fleas were dying by the billion. So it goes.
You to putt, Billy. How many so far?
7. This for 8. Okay.
Go on, you old hacker. Just be glad you're missing Sunday church.
Here goes.
Yes! Let's go on, boys. Lovely day for it. You coming, Billy?
I'll be right there. Whoa! Where am I?
Trapped in another blob of amber, Mr. Pilgrim. We are where we have to be just now, 300 million miles from Earth, bound for a time warp which will get us to Tralfamadore in hours.
How did I get here?
It would take another Earthling to explain it to you. Earthlings are the great explainers. I am a Tralfamadorian, seeing all time as you might see a stretch of the Rocky Mountains. All time is all time. It does not change. It does not lend itself to warnings or explanations. It simply is. Take it moment by moment.
You sound as if you don't believe in free will.
If I hadn't spent so much time studying Earthlings, I wouldn't know what free will is. I've visited 31 inhabited planets in the universe, and I've studied 100 more. Only on Earth is there any talk of free will.
Do you have a book I can read?
Only one in English, I'm afraid.
What is it?
The Valley of the Dolls by Jacqueline Suzanne.
I've read that. Pretty good in spots. People certainly have their ups and downs. Ups and downs. Any other books?
Only Tralfamadorian ones. You wouldn't understand those.
Well, let me have a look anyway.
I'm sending some in.
Thanks. Ah, I see. I get the idea.
What's that?
Clumps of symbols, stars, like telegrams.
Exactly.
You mean they are telegrams?
Not really, but you're right in a way. Each clump of symbols is a brief, urgent message. We read them all at once, you see. The author chooses them carefully so that when seen all at once, they produce an image that is beautiful, surprising, and deep. There is no beginning, no middle, no end, no suspense, no moral, no causes, no effects. What we love in our books are the depths of many marvelous moments seen all at one time.
What's happening now?
A time warp, Mr. Pilgrim. Hold on.
The delousing shower was turned off by an unseen hand. Billy got dressed again in his new overcoat, which, although it had thawed out, was too small for him. It had a fur collar and a crimson silk lining. It was also full of bullet holes. The Germans found him one of the most screamingly funny things they had seen in all the war. They laughed and laughed. And then they told everybody to form into ranks, and then go to a shed where their names and serial numbers were entered in a ledger. and Billy was given a tag, which a strong man could snap in two. In case Billy died, which he didn't, half of the tag would mark his body, and half would mark his grave. So it goes. Enrolled and tagged, the Americans were led through gate after gate to some sheds. Sparks whirled like constellations of stars from the chimneys. Out of the shed marched 50 singing, middle-aged Englishmen.
What the heck do we care? What the heck do we care?
These lusty, ruddy vocalists were among the first English-speaking prisoners to be taken. They were clean, enthusiastic, and strong. They were among the wealthiest people in Europe in terms of food. A clerical error caused the Red Cross to ship 500 parcels every month instead of 50. They kept all this coffee, chocolate, tobacco, tea, flour, beef, butter, cheese, and orange marmalade in a room they had waterproofed with a flattened tin lining. They were adored by the Germans because they made war look stylish and reasonable and fun. The Englishmen had never had guests before, and they went to work like darling elves to welcome the Americans, setting up a long table for a banquet in a hall illuminated by candlelight. Billy wondered if there was a telephone somewhere so he could call his mother and tell her he was alive and well.
My God, what have they done to you, lad? This isn't a man I'm touching. It's a broken kite. What became of your boots?
I don't remember.
Is that coat a joke?
Well, they gave it to me.
Jerry gave it to you?
Who?
The Germans.
Yes.
Oh, Yank. That coat was an insult. It was a deliberate attempt to humiliate you. You mustn't let Jerry do things like that. Can you hear me?
I...
Are you all right? Oh, dear. He's fainted. Pick him up, somebody.
Billy came to facing a stage where the Englishmen were performing a pantomime, Cinderella, with the men all dressed as women.
Goodness me! The clock has struck! Alack-a-day and fuck my luck!
Billy was put to bed and given a shot of morphine. Another American volunteered to watch over him. This was Edgar Darby, the high school teacher who would be shot to death in Dresden. His dog tag would be snapped in two. So it goes. Billy Pilgrim slept and then traveled in time to a veterans hospital near Lake Placid. It was the spring of 1948. The patients were here voluntarily. All had been alarmed by the outside world after the war. Billy committed himself in his final year at Ilium School of Optometry. He was going crazy. The man in the next bed to Billy's was a former infantry captain named Elliot Rosewater. He was sick and tired of being drunk all the time. Rosewater introduced Billy to science fiction, and in particular to the writings of Kilgore Trout. Both Billy and Rosewater were trying to reinvent themselves, because they had both found life meaningless because of what they had seen in the war. Science fiction was a big help. Billy peeked out from under his blanket. His fiancée, Valencia Merble, was in the visitor chair. She was the daughter of the owner of the Ilium School of Optometry. She was rich and big as a house because she couldn't stop eating. She was eating now. A Three Musketeers candy bar. Billy didn't want to marry ugly Valencia. She was wearing a diamond ring. It was insured for $1,800. Billy had found that diamond in Germany. It was booty of war.
Hello, Valencia.
Do you want some candy, Billy?
No, thanks.
How are you today?
Much better, thanks.
Do you want me to bring you anything in?
Nah, I have just about everything.
What about books?
Well, I'm right next to one of the biggest private libraries in the world. Valencia, this is Elliot Rosewater.
How do you do, sir?
Hello.
Mr. Rosewater has hundreds of books. What's that one you have right there now, Elliot?
Oh, well, this is The Gospel from Outer Space by Kilgore Trout. It's about a visitor from outer space who wants to know why Christians here on Earth find it so easy to be cruel.
And does he?
Well, kind of. He finds a problem with the Gospels, you see. They were meant to teach people to be merciful, even to the lowest of the low, but what they actually teach is, before you kill somebody, make sure he isn't well connected. So it goes. You get the drift here?
I'm trying, Mr. Rosewater.
Well, basically, the Gospels say that Christ, who didn't look like much, was actually the son of the most powerful being in the universe. So, when readers came to the crucifixion stuff, they actually thought, oh boy, they sure picked the wrong guy to lynch that time. And what follows is, there are right people to lynch. Who? People not well connected. See?
I guess so.
It's not finished. In the book by Mr. Trout, the visitor from outer space decides to make a gift to Earth of a new gospel. And in this gospel, Jesus really was a nobody and a pain in the neck to a lot of people with better connections than he had, so they lynched him. There couldn't possibly be any repercussions. He was a nobody, right?
I guess so.
And then, just before the nobody died, the heavens opened, and the voice of God came crashing down and told the people he was adopting the bum as his son, giving him all powers and privileges of the creator of the universe for eternity. And God told them, from this moment on, he will punish horribly anyone who torments a bum who has no connections.
That sounds like an interesting book.
Oh, yeah. If only he could write.
I'm sorry?
Now, he deserves to be unpopular. His prose is awful. Only his ideas are any good.
Would you like a Milky Way, sir?
No, thanks.
So where does he live, this Trout guy?
Oh, nobody knows. I'm the only person who ever heard of him. Hey, I like your ring.
Thank you. Billy got that diamond in the war.
Oh, well, that's the attractive thing about war. Absolutely everybody gets a little something.
And Billy traveled in time to the zoo on Tralfamadore. He was 40 years old and on display in a geodesic dome. He was naked. Escape was out of the question. Billy was in an earthling habitat. Billy got off his lounger now, went into the bathroom, and took a leak. The crowd went wild. Then he did the exercises he had learned in the army. A zoo guide on a raised platform outside explained to the crowd what Billy was doing and why. The guide relayed questions from the crowd to Billy.
Are you happy here?
About as happy as I was on Earth.
What is the most valuable thing you have learned here on planet Tralfamadore?
How the inhabitants here can live in peace. I am from a planet that has been engaged in senseless slaughter since the beginning of time. I myself have seen the bodies of schoolgirls boiled alive by my own countrymen who were proud of fighting evil. This happened in a place called Dresden. Earthlings must be the terrors of the universe. If other planets aren't in danger from Earth, they soon will be. So, tell me the secret of living in peace, so I can take it back and save us all.
Your words are foolish. We know how the universe ends. We blow it up, experimenting with fuels for our flying saucers.
But if you know it, can't you prevent it?
No. The moment of destruction is structured that way.
So the idea of preventing war on Earth is foolish too.
Of course.
But it is peaceful here.
Today it is. On other days, we have wars as horrible as any you've ever seen or read about. We simply ignore them. We look at pleasant moments. Earthlings should learn this. Ignore the awful times. Concentrate on the good ones.
Later that night, Billy traveled back to his wedding night with Valencia Merble. He was out of the Veterans Hospital now and was all well. He was rich now. His father-in-law made him head of his Ilium office. He could expect to make $30,000 a year. The honeymoon was taking place in an Indian summer in Cape Ann, Massachusetts. Their room opened onto a balcony overlooking an oily harbor beyond.
Thank you. You're welcome. It was nice.
I'm so happy. I never thought anyone would marry me. I'm gonna lose weight for you. I'm gonna go on a diet to become beautiful for you.
I like you just the way you are.
Do you ever think about the war, Billy?
Sometimes.
I look at you sometimes and get a funny feeling that you're just full of secrets.
I'm not. Not at all.
Not secrets, but things you don't want to talk about.
No.
I'm proud you were a soldier. You know that? Was it awful? Being a soldier?
Sometimes.
Would you talk about the war now? If I wanted you to?
It would sound like a dream. Other people's dreams aren't very interesting, usually.
I heard you tell Father once about a German firing squad. A man who got shot.
Edgar Darby, yeah.
You had to bury him.
Yeah.
Did he see you with your shovels before he was shot?
Yeah. Excuse me, Valencia. I gotta take a leak.
Billy groped for the light in the bathroom and realized when he touched the rough walls he was back in 1944 in the prison hospital again. Billy was approaching the back of the latrine. He looked inside. The place was crammed with Americans with their pants down. They were as sick as volcanoes. An American near Billy wailed, "I've excreted everything but my brains, boy. Final last vomit."
There they go! Oh, there they go!
That was the teller of this story. That was him. That was me. At 3 a.m. on Billy's morphine night in prison, 2 Englishmen carried in Paul Lazaro, the car thief from Cicero, Illinois, who had been caught stealing cigarettes.
Here he is. One of yours, I believe. Had to knock him out. Doesn't weigh as much as a chicken.
A German major came in. He considered the Englishmen as close friends. His English was splendid. He was apologetic that they had to put up with these Americans. He quoted from a report on the behavior of these American POWs from a former American who had risen high in German high command. Howard W. Campbell, Jr., a man who would later hang himself while awaiting trial as a war criminal. So it goes. Billy went to sleep that night listening to the German reading extracts from the report.
America is the wealthiest nation on earth, but its people are mainly poor. They do not love one another because they do not love themselves. Thus, the disagreeable behavior of enlisted men in German prisons ceases to be a mystery. Self-pitying, unfraternal, and dirty. Can you hear what I'm saying, soldier?
Can you hear what I'm saying, Dad?
Billy Pilgrim had gone to sleep in the hospital after the morphine and woken in 1968. It was his daughter Barbara. He was a widower. She was reproaching him for writing ridiculous letters to the newspapers.
Of course I can hear you.
If you're going to act like a child, maybe we'll have to treat you like a child.
That isn't what happens next.
Don't tell me what happens next. Is the heat on? The furnace thing in the basement. I don't think it's working.
Maybe not.
Aren't you cold?
Oh, I hadn't noticed. Did you know on Tralfamadore they don't see humans as two-legged creatures? They see them as great millipedes with babies' legs at one end and old people's legs at the other.
You'll freeze to death and then starve to death.
It was very exciting for her, taking his dignity away in the name of love. She called the oil burner man, and when the heat came on, she set the blanket to highest, which made Billy's bed hot enough to bake bread in. Billy traveled back in time to the zoo on Tralfamadore. A mate had been brought from Earth for him. She was Montana Wildtack, a motion picture star. Everybody on Tralfamadore wanted to see the Earthling's mate. A vast crowd gathered outside the zoo. Montana was naked, and so was Billy. He had a tremendous wang, incidentally. You never know who'll get one.
Where am I?
Please, don't be afraid.
I was by my pool in Palm Springs. Oh my God! Who are they? What's happening?
It's all right. You get used to it. Believe me, they won't hurt us.
All those little green hands clapping. Oh my God! What is this?
Listen, Billy Pilgrim says he went to Dresden, Germany on the day after his morphine night in the British compound. Billy woke at dawn on that day in January. Little Paul Lazaro with a broken arm snored in one bed. Edgar Darby, the high school teacher who would eventually be shot, snored in another. The Englishmen were busy building themselves a new latrine outside.
How are you, Mr. Lazaro? Sorry about our little fracas.
You made a big mistake. Anybody touches me, he better kill me, or I'm gonna have him killed.
There is still time for me to kill you. If you really persuade me that it's the sensible thing to do.
Why don't you go fuck yourself, Englishman?
Don't think I haven't tried.
I'll get my revenge. People fought with me! Jesus Christ! Are they ever sorry? I laugh like hell. I don't care if it's a guy or a dame. If the President of the United States messed around with me, I'd fix him good. A dog bit me once. You should see what I did to him.
A dog?
Yeah. I got some steak and I got me the spring out of a clock. Cut it into sharp pieces. I threw it to the dog. 10 minutes later, he was trying to eat out his own insides. I laughed. I said to him, "You got the idea now, doggy. Tear your own guts out, boy." Anybody ever asks you what the sweetest thing in life is, it's revenge. Mind you, nobody ever got it from Lazaro, who didn't have it coming.
You gonna give the English guy some clock springs and steak? He's a big guy, Lazaro.
Size don't mean a thing, Darby.
You gonna shoot him then?
I'm gonna have him shot. He'll get home after the war, he'll be a big hero. The dames will be climbing all over him. A couple of years go by and there'll be a knock on his door and there'll be a stranger there. Paul Lazaro sent me, the stranger will say, and he'll pull out his gun and shoot his pecker off. And then he'll shoot him in the guts and walk away. I can have anybody in the world killed for $1,000. Plus traveling expenses. See? I have a list. Up here. So just don't cross me or my friends, or you'll be on that list.
You have friends?
I had a friend. His name was Roland Weary. He died in my arms in a boxcar. He died on account of this crazy freak Pilgrim here. So enjoy life while you can, pal. 5, 10, 20 years down the line, when the doorbell rings, have somebody else go to the door.
As a time traveler, Billy has seen his own death many times, has described it on a tape kept in a bank safe.
I, Billy Pilgrim, will die, have died, and always will die on February 13, 1976.
He is in Chicago to talk to a crowd about flying saucers and the true nature of time. The date is February 13, 1976. America has been balkanized into 20 small states, so it will never again be a threat to world peace. There is a big crowd.
I will be dead within an hour. It's high time I died. Years ago, a certain man promised to have me killed. Tonight, he will keep his promise. If you think death is a terrible thing, you have not understood me properly. So, farewell, hello. Farewell, hello. It's time for you all to go home to your families. And it is time for me to be dead. And then to live again.
At that moment, Billy's high forehead is in the crosshairs of a high-powered rifle laser gun. In the next moment, Billy Pilgrim is dead. So it goes. It is simply violet light and a hum. Then he swings back to 1945 and the morphine hospital again.
Lads, your attention, if I may, please. If you stop taking pride in your appearance, you will very soon die. I've seen it so many times. Brush your teeth, shave once a day, polish your shoes, attend to bowel movement, stand up straight. You're leaving this afternoon for Dresden, a beautiful city, I'm told. You won't be cooped up. The food will be plentiful. You know something? It's been 5 years now since I've seen a tree, a flower, a woman, or a child, or a dog, or a cat. And don't worry about bombs, by the way. Dresden is undefended and contains no war industries or troops of any importance. Good luck to you all. Jolly good luck, and farewell, Americans.
And so it was time to go to Dresden, and the trip was a lark. They had come in 2 boxcars, now they left far more comfortably in 4. Sunlight and mild air came in through the ventilators. They arrived in Dresden at 5 in the afternoon. The open doorways of the boxcars framed the loveliest city that most of the Americans had ever seen. The skyline was intricate and voluptuous and enchanted and absurd. It looked to Billy Pilgrim like a Sunday school picture of heaven. The only other city he had ever seen was Indianapolis, Indiana. Every other city in Germany had been bombed and burned. Dresden had not suffered so much as a cracked window pane. The planes overhead were always on their way to somewhere else. Leipzig, Chemnitz, Plauen, places like that. So it goes. Streetcars clanged, telephones rang, there were theaters and restaurants, there was a zoo. 8 Dresdeners, wearing new uniforms who had been sworn into the army the day before, were assigned to guard 100 American soldiers. These guards knew what sick and foolish people they themselves appeared to be, and it was they who had to earn obedience and respect from tall, cocky, murderous American infantrymen. But when they saw the bearded Billy Pilgrim in his blue toga and silver shoes, and Paul Lazaro with his broken arm and fizzing with rabies, and poor old high school teacher Edgar Darby, mournfully pregnant with patriotism and middle age and imaginary wisdom, the Dresden guard smiled, and then laughed. There was nothing to be afraid of. Here wasn't terror, but light opera. And out of the railroad yard and into the streets marched the light opera, and Billy led the parade. But with his memories of the future, he knew this city would be smashed to smithereens in 30 days, and most of the people watching him would be dead. So it goes. The parade pranced, staggered, and reeled to the gate of the Dresden slaughterhouse and went inside. They were taken to a building which had been a shelter for pigs about to be butchered. There was a big number 5 over the door.
Halt! This is where you will be stationed. You must please commit to memory this address, in case you get lost in our big city. Schlachthof-5. Say it, please. Schlachthof. 5. Good. Schlachthof means slaughterhouse. 5 is 5.
Billy Pilgrim got into a chartered airplane 25 years after that. He knew it was going to crash, but he didn't want to make a fool of himself by saying so. It was carrying 25 optometrists to a convention in Montreal. Outside, his wife was waving goodbye and eating a Peter Paul Mounds bar. There was a barbershop quartet on board. They were optometrists, too. They called themselves the Febs, an acronym for Four-Eyed Bastards. Billy closed his eyes, knowing the plane was soon to crash. He went back to 1944 with the Three Musketeers and Roland Weary shaking him and bonking his head against a tree.
You can just leave me alone, guys. Go on without me.
The plane crashed on top of Sugarbush Mountain in Vermont, and only Billy and the co-pilot survived. Everyone else was killed. So it goes. The people who got to the crash first were young Austrian skiers from the nearby resort. In their wind mask with red topknots, they looked like gollywogs. One of the gollywogs leaned close to Billy to catch his perhaps dying words. Billy thought the skier was from World War II.
My name is Billy Pilgrim. I'm an American soldier. And my address is Slaughterhouse-Five.
Billy was rescued by the skiers and taken to a small private hospital where he had an operation and dreamed millions of things, some of them true. Like the first evening in the slaughterhouse. Werner Gluck, one of their young guards, just 16, a Dresden boy, tried to lead his prisoners to the kitchen, but lost his way, and they emerged in a communal shower room full of 30 teenage girls, German refugees. And there those girls were with all their private parts bare. And in the doorway was Gluck and Edgar Darby and Billy Pilgrim, the child soldier, the high school teacher, and the clown in his toga and silver. The girls screamed. They covered themselves with their hands and turned their backs and so on, and made themselves utterly beautiful. Werner Gluck, who had never seen a naked girl before, closed the door. Billy had never seen one either. It was nothing new to Darby. The Americans in the slaughterhouse had a very interesting visitor 2 days before Dresden was destroyed. Howard W. Campbell, Jr. was the Nazi sympathizer who had written the monograph about the shabby behavior of American prisoners of war. He had a broad armband, which was red with a blue swastika in a circle of white.
See here, you guys. Blue is for the American sky. White is for the race that pioneered the continent, drained the swamp and cleared the forests and built the roads and bridges. Red is for the blood of American patriots. Now see here, fellas. I want you to join the Free American Corps. And once we defeat the Russians, you will be repatriated through Switzerland. Okay? You hearing me? You're going to have to fight the commies sooner or later. Why not get it over with now,
You know what you are, Campbell? A snake.
It was poor old Edgar Darby, on his feet for what was probably the finest moment of his life.
Worse, a rat, a blood-filled tick. Our government, our Constitution, the USA, offers freedom, justice, and opportunity. There isn't a man in this room who wouldn't gladly die for these ideas. The Americans and the Russians together are going to crush a disease of Nazism, a disease which is infecting the whole world.
The Americans and their guards took shelter in a meat locker hollowed in living rock under the slaughterhouse. There was no refrigeration. There was candlelight. Nothing happened that night. It was the next night that about 130,000 people in Dresden would die. So it goes.
Tell me a story, Billy boy. Please.
In the zoo on Tralfamadore one time, with the privacy canopy down, and Montana Wildtack, 6 months pregnant, and millions of light years away from strawberries and cream, which she craved badly, asked only this one little favor from Billy Pilgrim, a story.
Dresden was destroyed on the night of February 13, 1945. We came out of our shelter the next day. All the stockyards with their fence posts were gone. The roofs and windows of houses all gone. And there were these hundreds and hundreds of little logs lying around.
Logs?
Yeah. People, Montana. People who had been caught in a firestorm. The buildings had collapsed, and the stones and the wood were all locked in low and graceful curves. Well, it's like the moon.
What did you do?
We were marched through this city of no survivors. We got to an inn in a suburb untouched by fire and explosion. It was still open for business. It was run by a blind innkeeper, his sighted wife and 2 daughters. He asked us if we had come from this city, and I told him yes. He asked if others were coming, and I said no. We had not seen a living soul. He said we could sleep there in the stable. And as we bedded down, he came in and said, "Guten Nacht. Schlafen Sie gut, Amerikaners."
What's that mean?
Good night. Sleep well, Americans.
Here's how Billy Pilgrim lost his wife Valencia. He was still in the hospital in Vermont after his plane crash on Sugarbush Mountain. She died in an automobile accident rushing to see her adored Billy. Billy knew nothing about it and slept on. He shared a room with Bertram Copeland Rumford, a Harvard professor who had broken a leg while skiing on honeymoon with his wife, Lily. Rumford was 70. Lily was 23. She had been a go-go girl. She was a high school dropout.
I brought you the books, Bertram.
And the Xerox of the Truman speech, I trust.
Sure. Your roommate sure scares the hell out of me.
He bores the hell out of me. All he does is talk in his sleep, asking to quit and surrender and to be left alone. Frankly, like Roosevelt said, I could carve a better man out of a banana. Have you read the Truman stuff, Lily?
No, Bertram.
You should. Read it to me now.
Oh, hell, I'm not so good at reading, Bertram. You know, one of the reasons I gave up college...
Just read it, Lily.
16 hours ago, an American airplane dropped a bomb on Hiroshima.
Mm-hmm.
We are now prepared to obliterate more rapidly and completely every productive enterprise the Japanese have above ground in any city.
Reverend Cody, Wyoming. Just ask for Wild Bob.
Oh, grief.
What's the matter, Lily?
Mr. Pilgrim there just spoke.
I doubt it.
Why don't they let him die?
I don't know. They don't know what to do. Look at him. That's life, according to the medical profession. Isn't it wonderful?
Shh! He might hear you.
He can't hear a thing. Not where he is.
Are you writing about Hiroshima, Bertram?
No, Dresden. I need to put something about Dresden in my book. From the official Air Force point of view. It'll all be new stuff. Americans have finally heard about it. A lot of them now know it was worse than Hiroshima, you see. 23 years after it happened.
Why has it been a secret for so long?
For fear that a lot of bleeding hearts might think it was not such a wonderful thing to do, Lily.
I was there.
He spoke again.
What did he say?
He said he was there.
Where?
Where were you, sir?
Dresden.
Dresden.
He's got echolalia now, that's all.
What's that?
A disease, Lily. He's echoing things people say.
Oh, sure.
Billy kept silent till the lights went out. And in the silence, when there was nothing to echo, he spoke to Rumford.
I was in Dresden when it was bombed. I was a prisoner of war.
Okay, I'm trying to sleep here.
Word of honor, I was a POW. Do you believe me?
Must we talk about it now?
I'll never have to talk about it. I just want you to know I was there.
2 days after the war in Europe ended, and Billy and 5 other American prisoners were traveling in an abandoned wagon driven by 2 horses they had found in a suburb of Dresden. They were going back to the slaughterhouse. Billy was reminded of the milkman's horses early in the morning at Ilium when he was a boy. He was happy. He was warm. There was food in the wagon, and wine, and a camera, and a stuffed owl, and a stamp collection, and a mantel clock. The Americans had gone into empty houses in the suburbs and had taken these and many other things. And as Billy was snoozing in the back of the wagon, it was stopped by a man and a woman, both doctors who had been delivering babies until the hospitals were burned down. They were picnicking near where their apartment used to be.
Whoa! Halt! Halt! What the hell are you doing? Look at your horses.
Your means of transport, sir.
The mouths are bleeding. The hooves broken.
And they are mad with thirst. Look at them, sir. Just look at these creatures.
What?
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I've never cried before, you know. In all the war. I never cried. Until now.
Billy Pilgrim cried very little, although he often saw things worth crying about. Two days after the horses, Billy was turned over to the Americans, who shipped him home on a freighter called the Lucretia A. Mott. She was a famous suffragette. She was dead. So it goes. Billy traveled back in time to the hospital in Vermont. He told Professor Rumford about the injured horses and the couple picnicking on the moon.
It had to be done, boy. That's war. You must have had mixed feelings there on the ground.
It was all right. Everything is all right, and everybody has to do exactly what he does. I learned that on Tralfamadore.
On where?
My daughter is taking me home tomorrow.
And Billy Pilgrim did go home, where he was kept under observation. Only he escaped while the nurse wasn't watching, and he drove to New York, where he hoped to appear on television and tell the world about the lessons of Tralfamadore. He didn't get onto television, but he did get onto a radio talk show in a station right next to his hotel. And when he was allowed to speak, he spoke about the flying saucers and Montana Wildtack and so on. He was gently expelled from the studio during a commercial break and went back to the hotel and went to sleep. He traveled back in time to Tralfamadore.
You've been time traveling again. I can always tell, Billy. You like our baby? He's very demanding. Come on. Where did you go to this time?
New York?
The Big Apple. That's what they used to call New York. See any plays or movies?
No, I just walked around Times Square. Bought a book by Kilgore Trout in a bookstore.
Lucky you.
I also saw part of a blue movie in which you starred.
It was that kind of a bookstore, was it? Well, I've heard about you in the war and what a clown you were. And I heard about your high school teacher who was shot, made a blue movie with a firing squad. There now. There. Our keepers are playing with the clocks again, Billy.
So, they're still watching.
Oh, yes. Always watching.
That locket around your neck, Montana.
What about it?
What's in it?
A photo of my mother. Although you can hardly tell, it's so old and faded. Have a look.
There's an engraving here.
Yeah. God grant me the serenity,
The serenity to
accept
accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I've read this before, Montana.
2 days after the city of Dresden was destroyed, after the 2 nights spent in the blind innkeeper's stable, the guards marched Billy and the rest into the ruins, where, with POWs from many lands, they were given shovels, picks, crowbars, and wheelbarrows, and began to dig for bodies under the rubble. Many holes were dug, but nobody knew yet what there was to find. Billy found himself paired with a Maori who had been captured at Tobruk. He had whirlpools tattooed on his forehead and cheeks. And they came at last to a membrane of timbers laced over rocks which formed a dome. They made a hole in the membrane, and a German soldier went down with a flashlight and found hundreds of bodies sitting on benches, all unmarked. This was the first corpse mine in Dresden. There were hundreds by and by. They didn't smell bad at first, but then the bodies rotted and the stink was like mustard gas and roses. So it goes. The Maori died of the dry heaves after being ordered to go down in the stink and work. Tore himself to pieces. Later still, the bodies weren't brought up but simply set fire to, cremated by soldiers with flamethrowers right where they were. Somewhere in there, poor old Edgar Darby was caught with a teapot he had taken from the catacombs. He was arrested for plundering, tried, and shot. So it goes. Billy and the rest of the group were locked up in the stable in the suburbs, and one morning they woke up to find the door unlocked and that World War II in Europe was over. And Billy and the rest wandered out into the shady street where there was nothing going on, and trees were leafing out, and the birds were talking. One bird said to Billy Pilgrim, "Poot-weet." All this happened, more or less. I've changed all the names. I really did go back to Dresden in 1967. It looked a bit like Dayton, Ohio. I went back with an old war buddy, Bernard V. O'Hare, and we made friends with a cab driver, Gerhard Muller, to whom, along with Mary O'Hare, I dedicate this story.
I was prisoner of Americans, but after we live here under communism, and it's terrible first. No food, no shelter, nothing. But now much better. I have pleasant apartment, and my girl is getting good education. You know, fellows, my mother died in that firestorm. So it goes, eh?
Gerhard later sent us a Christmas card. It said,
I wish you and your family Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I hope we will meet again in a world of peace and freedom in the taxi cab. If the accident will.
I like that very much. If the accident will.
In Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut Jr., dramatized by Dave Sheasby, the narrator was played by John Garasio, Billy Pilgrim by Andrew Scott, Bernard by Nathan Osgood, and Mary by Joanne McQuinn. Barbara was played by Sarah Goldberg, Montana by Annabel Dowler, Valencia by Madeline Potter, and the optometrist patient by Liza Ross. Elliot Rosewater was played by Carrie Shale, Roland Weary by Simon Lee Phillips, Bertram Rumford by Peter Marinker, Howard J. Campbell Jr. by Stephen Hogan, and Paul Lazaro by Gunnar Cothery. The English officer was played by Michael Mears, the German officer by Philip Fox, and the German soldiers by Orlando James and Michael Shelford. The music was by 65 Days of Static, and the director was David Hunter. So it goes.